If all the clothes in the world disappeared tomorrow, here's what would happen next. We are social creatures who live in social structures. We rely on language to communicate with each other. Without it, we wouldn't be able to coordinate our activities or even know what time it is. Language is also a way for us to express ourselves. We use it to persuade, to inform, to entertain. And although some of us are better at it than others, we all use it every day. Clothes are a form of self-expression. They tell people who we are, where we're from, what we like. Some people use their clothes to make a statement. Others just want to look good. But no matter what the reason, clothes are an important part of our identity. If they suddenly vanished, we would be lost. Well, there are a few ways this could play out. In a perfect world, everyone would simply go naked. But let's be real, that's not how things work. If clothes suddenly disappeared, there would be chaos. People would be running around in their underwear, trying to figure out what had happened. The government would declare a state of emergency and try to restore order, but it would be impossible. There are too many people in the world for everyone to just go naked. So instead, people would start making their own clothes. Sewing machines would be in high demand, as would fabric and thread. But don't worry, if you have a sewing machine, you'll be able to make enough clothes for yourself and your family. Just don't expect to sell any of them for profit. The government would likely step in and say that making clothes for profit is an essential service and that no one is allowed to charge more than a reasonable price for them. The fashion industry would be completely disrupted. No more Gucci, Prada, or Louis Vuitton. Only the most skilled tailors would be able to make clothes for the rich and famous. But even they would have to use cheap materials since the supply chain for luxury fabrics would have collapsed. Farmers would be in high demand since they can make the dyes that will be used to color the new clothes. Those with large tracts of land would be able to grow enough crops to produce the necessary dyes in large quantities. This would give them a significant advantage over smaller farmers who would have to focus on producing food for themselves and their families. It might seem like a utopia for some and a nightmare for others, but it would ultimately be a disaster for everyone. Why? Because clothes aren't just a way for us to express ourselves. They're also a way for us to protect ourselves from the elements. If you live in a cold climate, you know how important it is to have a warm coat. Or if you live in a hot climate, you know how important it is to have a light, flowing garment to stay cool. Without clothes, people would be at the mercy of the weather. In the short term, some people would die of cold or heat exhaustion. In the long term, there would be mass starvation. Why? Because crops would be ruined by extreme weather events that were no longer being mitigated by humans wearing protective clothing. But there is a hack that could save us from this fate. What is it? Well, let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a tailor who was so good at his job that he could make any garment in the world. One day, the king came to him and said, "I need a suit of clothes that will keep me warm in the coldest weather." The tailor took the king's measurements and then locked himself in his workshop for weeks. When he finally emerged, he was wearing a suit of clothes that looked like it was made of straw. "What is this?" the king asked. "This," said the tailor, "is a suit of clothes that will keep you warm in the coldest weather." The king put it on and immediately burst into flames. The tailor had made a suit of clothes out of flax. If all the clothes in the world disappeared tomorrow, this tailor would be the richest man alive. His skill would allow him to create garments from the toughest fibers that would protect people from the elements. He would be so valuable that the government would likely offer him a huge reward to make as much clothing as possible. But this begs the question, why did the tailor make a suit of clothes out of flax? Well, it's because flax is one of the strongest natural fibers in the world. It's also one of the oldest, dating back to 18,000 BC. Flax was used by humans for thousands of years to make linen, which was used for everything from burial shrouds to sails. In today's world, flax is mostly used for animal bedding and upholstery. But if all the clothes in the world disappeared tomorrow, flax would become one of the most valuable commodities on Earth. Its strength and durability would make it ideal for creating protective clothing that could withstand the toughest conditions. Plus, it's already being grown all over the world, so there would be no shortage of material. So if you want to be prepared for the day when all the clothes in the world disappear, start growing flax now. You'll be glad you did. Alright, comment below what you would do if all the clothes in the world disappeared tomorrow. See you next time.